Waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning and lying there for an hour, unable to fall back asleep, is one of the most common complaints among adults over 60. There's one simple ingredient, just 1 tablespoon, that researchers say may help lower the cortisol spike that's often behind that middle-of-the-night wake-up. Stick around, because I'll also explain exactly when to take it, since timing matters more than most people realize. Hi everyone, welcome back to Wise Body Wellness. Before we get into it, I want to be upfront that nothing works instantly or like a switch. What we're talking about today is tart cherry juice, and there's real research behind its effect on sleep and cortisol, but it works gradually, not immediately. Let's break down what science actually says. Why cortisol wakes you up at night. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, but it's also the hormone responsible for waking you up in the morning. It naturally rises in the early morning hours to help you feel alert. The problem for a lot of older adults is that this rise sometimes happens too early, around 2 or 3 a.m., instead of 6 or 7, which is exactly what pulls you out of sleep and makes it hard to fall back down. Researchers believe this shifted cortisol pattern becomes more common with age, partly due to changes in the body's internal clock, and partly due to increased overall stress hormone sensitivity as we get older. Understanding this is important, because it explains why so many sleep aids that target melatonin alone don't fully solve the problem for people who wake up in the middle of the night specifically. Tart cherry juice and melatonin. This is where tart cherry juice comes in. It's one of the few natural food sources that contains measurable amounts of melatonin itself, along with compounds that may support your body's own melatonin production. Several small clinical studies have found that participants who drank tart cherry juice in the weeks leading up to a sleep study experienced longer total sleep time and fewer nighttime awakenings compared to those who didn't. One study following older adults with insomnia specifically found that tart cherry juice consumption was associated with improved sleep efficiency, meaning less time spent lying awake relative to total time in bed. That's a particularly relevant finding for anyone who falls asleep fine, but struggles specifically with staying asleep. Now here's the part that connects directly back to cortisol, and it's the reason this works differently than a typical sleep aid. Sleep environment factors. Beyond diet and hormones, your sleep environment plays a bigger role in nighttime waking than most people realize. Room temperature is one of the most overlooked factors. Body temperature naturally drops as part of falling and staying asleep, and a room that's too warm can interfere with that process, making middle of the night more likely. Most sleep researchers recommend keeping the bedroom between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal sleep. Light exposure matters too, even small amounts. Street lights through curtains, a phone charging on the nightstand, or even a hallway light under the door can be enough to disrupt the deeper stages of sleep in older adults, since sensitivity to light during sleep tends to increase with age. Screens before bed are worth mentioning specifically. The blue light from phones and tablets can suppress natural melatonin production in the hour or two before bed, working directly against the same process we talked about with tart cherry juice. Simple changes: a fan for consistent temperature, blackout curtains, and putting the phone away an hour before bed often make a noticeable difference when combined with the other factors we've covered. Why sleep quality naturally declines with age. It helps to understand what's actually changing in the body, since it explains why sleep problems become so much more common after 60. As we age, we naturally spend less time in deep, slow-wave sleep, the stage most responsible for feeling physically rested. At the same time, the number of brief awakenings throughout the night tends to increase, even in people who don't remember waking up at all. The body's internal clock, sometimes called the circadian rhythm, also shifts and weakens with age. This is part of why many older adults naturally start feeling tired earlier in the evening and waking earlier in the morning, along with becoming more sensitive to any disruption during the night. Hormonal changes play a role too. Melatonin production naturally declines with age, and as we covered earlier, cortisol patterns can shift and rise earlier than they should. None of this means poor sleep is simply something to accept. It means the strategies that worked at 30 may need to be more deliberate at 70. Whether that's the sleep environment we just covered, diet choices like tart cherry juice, or the consistency of sleep and wake times. Anxiety and racing thoughts at 3 a.m. Not every middle-of-the-night wake-up is purely hormonal. For a lot of people, the physical wake-up from a cortisol shift is followed by a mental one. racing thoughts, worry, or a mind that suddenly won't quiet down once you're conscious. This combination is part of why falling back asleep can feel so much harder than falling asleep the first time. Researchers have found that the way people respond to a middle-of-the-night wake-up matters almost as much as the wake-up itself. Checking the clock, calculating how many hours of sleep are left, or reaching for a phone all tend to increase alertness and anxiety, making it harder to drift back off. Some sleep specialists recommend a technique called cognitive shuffling, deliberately thinking about random, unrelated, and non-stressful images or words as a way to occupy the mind without triggering the kind of focused thinking that keeps you awake. If racing thoughts at 3 a.m. are a frequent pattern rather than an occasional one, it's also worth mentioning to your doctor, since persistent anxiety around sleep can sometimes point to a broader anxiety pattern that benefits from additional support beyond sleep strategies alone. The cortisol connection tart cherry juice is also rich in anthocyanins, the same antioxidant compounds we talked about in berries in an earlier video. Some research has found that anthocyanins may help regulate the body's stress response, including cortisol levels, by reducing oxidative stress and inflammation that can otherwise disrupt normal hormone rhythms. One study measuring cortisol levels in participants who consumed tart cherry juice daily over several weeks found modestly lower cortisol levels compared to a control group. It's worth being clear that this is a gradual effect, building over consistent daily use, not something that happens the moment you drink it. Anyone promising an instant fix for cortisol isn't representing the research accurately. Timing matters. Here's a detail that makes a real difference in how well this works. Most of the research showing benefit uses tart cherry juice consumed about 1 to 2 hours before bed, not right at bedtime, and not earlier in the day. This timing allows the natural melatonin content to align with your body's own sleep onset process, rather than working against it. 1 tablespoon of concentrated tart cherry juice, mixed into a small glass of water, is the amount used in most of the studies showing benefit. Concentrated juice is important here specifically, since regular tart cherry juice from the grocery store is often diluted and won't contain the same concentration of active compounds. What the research doesn't show. I want to be honest about the limits here too. Tart cherry juice hasn't been shown to help everyone equally, and the effect size in most studies is modest, not dramatic. It appears to help more with sleep maintenance, meaning staying asleep, than with sleep onset, meaning how quickly you initially fall asleep. If your main issue is taking a long time to fall asleep in the first place, rather than waking up in the middle of the night, this may not be the right tool for that specific problem. It's also worth checking with your doctor before adding it daily if you're on blood pressure medication, since tart cherry juice has a mild effect on blood pressure that could interact with certain prescriptions. How to use it? To try this yourself, look for tart cherry juice concentrate, not regular cherry juice or cherry-flavored drinks, since those typically don't contain a meaningful dose of the beneficial compounds. 1 tablespoon of concentrate mixed into about half a cup of water, taken 1 to 2 hours before bed, matches what most of the research used. Give it at least 2 to 3 weeks of consistent use before deciding whether it's helping, since this is a gradual effect, not an immediate one. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe. We cover research-backed health topics for people over 60 every week. And if you missed our video on everyday food that may help support stronger legs well into your 80s and 90s, I'll link it right here. Sleep really can improve with small, consistent changes. See you in the next one.